Okay, guys, welcome back. We're going to continue with our unit studying The Man in the Water, this interesting commentary from Roger Rosenblatt. We're going to compare it to a couple of different pieces of text today. One is an NTSB report, which stands for the National Transportation Safety Board, what actually happened, what they found later. And then we're going to take a look at a news television package from WUSA. So our pun of the day, he arrived late at the party to find he was beaten to the punch. And guys, I just want to say you guys have done a phenomenal job. I'm super proud of you. You've been working hard. You're almost there. So purpose is to identify the main idea, the author's purpose, and compare it with another text, because reading between and among texts deepens and refines thinking and learning. We're going to continue to find more and more bits of information about this plane crash, about what actually happened. So it's kind of like, we're a reporter or we are a detective trying to find out the truth. So we're going to create an objective summary, define the author or determine the author's tone toward a subject, determine their point of view or their purpose, and explain, interpret, compare, describe, analyze, and evaluate connections between the texts, and also analyze two or more texts that provide conflicting information about the same topic. There will be some conflict between some of the pieces of text that we've encountered. So first, we're going to take a look at an objective summary and the point of view. So what I want you to do right now is to just in 3 sentences summarize The Man in the Water, what we read by Roger Rosenblatt. And I'm going to review that. And so we're going to summarize that and also take a look at the tone. So there'll be an opportunity here in this video to do that. So what we read was that journalist Roger Rosenblatt described how heroes played a major role in the Air Florida Flight 90 crash. The plane crashed into the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. This was back in 1988, I believe, and it hit a bridge. It was a terrible snowstorm, and at this time, the authorities believe weather caused the plane to crash. He blames the weather in his commentary. 4 people performed heroic acts to save survivors in the water. The helicopter pilots, Donald Usher and Eugene Windsor, risked a possible crash into the cold water by lowering the lifeline to victims of the crash. Lenny Skutnik, who was watching from the riverbank, jumped into the water to rescue a victim. And that lifeline went down. It went down to the man in the water who passed it from one survivor to another and then drowned to death. Rosenblatt, the author, the journalist, was astonished at how man defeated nature by passing life to others. So your job right now is to write an objective summary. All right. I've just kind of summarized it. Do it in 3 sentences. Objective means simply that you're writing without opinion. Just stick to the facts regarding that commentary. Okay. Not just the event, but what did Rosenblatt say? Okay. Summarize what he said. All right. And then we were taking a look at the tone, the author's attitude toward a subject. Okay. We need to remember that this is a magazine article written in Time magazine. It's nonfiction. It's a commentary. It's written to inform and entertain, maybe a slight persuasion. It's not really trying to get you to believe, but certainly he does provide his opinion. Okay. It is a commentary. The craft and structure is written. It provides third person. Then it goes into first person. The third person is kind of telling you what happened. And then the first person is really providing lots of metaphors and imagery and analysis. Okay. And so we read through it twice, once as a news reporter to find out the events, and the second time was to take a look at the author's attitude. Okay, what was his attitude toward the heroes, the humans, towards nature, toward the plane crash? And so here in just a minute, I want you to jot that down. So, of course, he describes the event. He says, as disasters go, this one was terrible, but not the worst. There was an unusual element, the fact that the plane hit the bridge. It was taking place in Washington and so forth. These are all from your notes from the last time. It talks about the heroes and about the man in the water. And it continues to focus on the heroes. And so we see here, of course, the main idea, it can be taken from the tone. He's positive about man. On that afternoon, human nature, groping and flailing in mysteries of its own, rose to the occasion, very positive about man. He says, here, after all, were 2 forms of nature in collision, the elements and human character. The elements indifferent as ever, meaning nature did not care. All right, so it's negative about nature there. The fact that he went unidentified invested him with a universal character. For a while, he was every man, and thus proof that no man is ordinary. So again, positive about humankind, positive about man. And then again, it's negative about nature. Nature cared nothing. Again, this reminds us of the cold equations, our very first short story, all the way back at the beginning of the year, where it didn't matter about Marilyn being a sweet teenage girl. They had to jettison her because of the laws of nature. And then we get positive man. Our man, on the other hand, cared totally. Shows you the differences between humanity and nature. The one making no distinctions of good and evil, the other acting wholly on distinctions, principles, and one supposes faith. Again, negative about nature, positive about man. All right. Everyone feels the possibility to act as heroes in himself. Again, positive about man. But he could hand life over to a stranger, and that is the power of nature too. Again, positive about man. Implacable, impersonal enemy, negative about nature. He was the best we can do. That's how Rosenblatt ends it. Again, he ends with this positive idea about man. So the tone is very obvious, okay? That the man in the water represents humankind. He provided hope. This leads to the central point. Ordinary people can be heroes too. Human beings show their heart while nature is indifferent. All of these ideas come from that tone. Tone leads us to the main idea or the central point, particularly in a commentary. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and jot that down now. What is the tone of Rosenblatt's article, The Man in the Water? All right, so after reviewing that, we also talked about, is there a universal character? And universal simply means across time and across setting, right? So when we talk about universal character, so, this is a person that represents humankind. They represent, Belgians, Germans, Australians, South Africans, Zimbabweans. It doesn't matter. Okay, and it doesn't matter the time period. It could happen in the 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, or current day. Okay, they embody the well-known meanings and basic human experiences. And it is of universal significance, meaning that it's generally accepted to represent humankind. So is there universal character? Absolutely. He talks about that. He says that the fact that we didn't know his name, you're going to find out his name later on, makes him that much more so universal character. He's every man. Proof that no man is ordinary. Everyone feels the possibility to act as a hero, and he was the best we can do. Again, using the first person saying he represents us. So why is it universally significant? Well, absolutely. It reminds us that humanity can do extraordinary things under extraordinary times. We saw that with Lenny Skutnik jumping into the river, the cold river. This was not a summer day, right? It was in January. There was a snowstorm, super cold. And of course, we see it with the man in the water, giving the lifeline literally to others, sacrificing himself for others. And again, we saw there the pictures the day after on the front page of the Washington Post. Okay, this actually happened. So now we're going to take a look. I wanted to review that because, of course, in the back of our head, we want to compare. So we're going to take a look at a different point of view and a different purpose. We're going to compare between the texts and look for conflicting information. Think about what Roger Rosenblatt told us. Okay, he wrote that in a magazine, probably about a week after the event. They didn't have a ton of information back there in the 1980s, but we're going to find out what the National Transportation Safety Board, the official government report, says. Okay, so you're going to open up the Google Doc that looks like this, and you're going to be filling this in. The link to the NTSB report is right here. We're not going to read the whole thing. We're going to take a look at some of the basics. So right now, we're going to think about, well, what type of text is it? What's the genre? What's the purpose? What's the writer's craft and structure? Okay, and this is the report. You can see there's a government seal. You can see that it was received from some other government institution in September 9th, 1982. It says aircraft accident report, Air Florida. It was a Boeing 737 collision with 14th Street Bridge near Washington National Airport, January 13th, 1982. As we continue on here, you can see there's a government form here. It gives you many more details when the report was actually published, August 10th, 1982. Again, and it's going to give you an abstract, which is like a summary, right? Okay, so I want you to read through there. And we'll first take a look. First of all, actually, we need to just take the broad perspective, of course, that this is a government report. So that's the first thing that you want to fill in. That it is an official government document. So this is not a commentary by Roger Rosenblatt, right? This is something that many people put together. So it is nonfiction, and the author's purpose is strictly to inform. When you read through here, there's no opinion. They're giving you facts. Any analysis that is there is brought to you by facts. And so the craft and structure, it's a government form. This is not giving you, third person to first person. Okay, it's strictly facts, no opinion. It's very formal. Okay, so as we take a look here, you're going to fill out your document to figure out how does it compare with the Man in the Water? Is there conflicting information? What is the tone? And what new understanding, what new learnings have you gained? So all you need to do here is really focus on the abstract. And, this first and second page, you can kind of scroll through some of the other documents if you want, but I don't expect you to read more than the abstract. Okay, the abstract is going to give us a lot of information right here. Okay, so take a minute and do that. And we'll stop and come back with the next video.